Good morning, good people. A little bit late this morning for the fog. I wasn't late at the lake, but late to find fish. I'm gonna make the first few casts with this weapon here. Anniversary Presso Reel polyester line 125 12 jig, which I used on a different lake where I was fishing rocks with baby fish. If you fish for nice bluegill, you should fish with probably with size 10 hook. Optimal. Here is a fish right away. I saw them. Optimal for nice bluegill is size 10 hook. Not because you're gonna catch more fish, but because you're not gonna gut hook any. I don't gut hook very many, but because I twitch fast, it's difficult to inhale. But I'm just saying, if you have a very big bluegill in your lake, use size 10 hook. Now that doesn't mean that I always change hooks for this bed, for that bed, for this lake, for that lake. I fish with whatever I have tied on. Starting with a little Suare bluegill here. Yeah, we're gonna take what we have today. Little Suare bluegill. I fish with what I have, folks, and I was gonna tell you that this weekend, let me put the trolling motor on speed 1, just to keep me in one direction. I fished 3 days in a row. I fished Friday afternoon, I fished Saturday, and I'm fishing Sunday again. And the only way this is possible is if you don't mess around with your tackle too much. If one of these days was carp fishing, Saturday, you have to take all the bluegill rods out of the boat, you have to put carp rods, you have to cook food for the carp, then on Sunday you have to swap again to bluegill. If one of the days is Tennessee River, I use different rods. I don't use these super ultralights and 2-pound line for Tennessee River. Tennessee River, you can always connect with a catfish or big black bass. So I always use a little bit stronger rods and line. Still ultralight, but just a little bit stronger. So if I connect with something nicer, I want to land it. Still not 100% chance of landing. I want to have a decent chance of landing. Even with this, I can land it if there is no structure and snags around. You guys hear the woodpecker? Tap tap is number 2. Number 2 feels a little bit better. Man, I love early morning fishing. It was still too late. You know, to do the best of the morning, you kind of have to pre-fish the day before. So in the morning, you go straight to a spot you know there is fish. That's my strategy. The morning is not for finding new spots and researching. You have 1 or 2 hours before the annoying people show up and mess with the pontoons and the music. Now this here is a better bluegill. Already number 2 is not too bad. There you go. Very fat feller. Very fat. See the mouth? See the 125, 12, no problem, perfectly hooked through the nose, never coming off. He was never coming off. Man, he felt even better than this. He was heavy and steady. There is kayaks left and right from me, but they're fishing for bass. I can hear the lures hitting the water. This is heavy stuff. Sometimes they fish, they can see the bluegill beds and they fish them, hoping to catch a bass there. That's really bad for me. They're not gonna catch the bluegill. They're not gonna catch any bass most often. Interestingly, I don't catch a lot of bass from bluegill beds. I catch some, but most of the random bass that I catch is, you know, in front of a tree or in front of a grass or in front of some rock where he has a place to hide and skirmish. Not really from a bed, unless it's some legendary bed at the end of the cove, 100 holes big. Another soiree bluegill. You'll see some beds soiree bluegill, some beds presso bluegill. This hook is coming off like nothing. I love it. One time I had to, on one micro barb, crimp the barb with the pliers. I had several bluegill in a row. I have to almost pop the jig head to get it out. And you guys that have used the BG1 jigs, you can confirm that's not how the BG1s come out of a fish. They usually come out very easy. But that one, and I couldn't, at least my eyes couldn't see, I think I even made a video with it. My eyes couldn't see why it would get stuck like this. It still looked small to me, but maybe the angle was exactly 90 degrees. And I don't know, it happens. He came back for it. When they are mucho agresivo like this, you get a second chance. You get a second chance. Man, oh man. Best time of year. I get worn out in the month of May. I get worn out. I fish 3 times a week. I take time off. I fish 3 times a week. I wake up very early. My body sometimes hurts just from fishing. Look at this. He's a little smaller feller. They must get a lot of sunlight here to be that dark. Usually when you have clear water, a lot of sunlight, they get dark. This is, by the way, unusual spot for a bluegill bed. Unusual. On a point, up, exposed like this. No protection from wind, from bass. There is deep water. I'm already in deep water. I'm casting shallow, but my boat is in deep water. This bed is very vulnerable to catfish, bass, boats roaming on top. When the wind is blowing from where my back is, it's gonna make the waves hit the bank here. It's gonna muddy the water. Usually bluegill look for spots that are a little bit protected from predators and a little bit also from the prevailing wind. They don't want a cove or a point or something where the waves are always hitting there, splashing all the water, always extremely muddy. They don't want extremely clean either, by the way. If it's too clean, they don't like it. right by the dam, super deep and clear water. Also not preferable. But by the way, if you find bluegill by the dam, it's not optimal for them, but there is exceptions. And if you do find them by the dam, very often the biggest bluegill in the whole lake you might catch by the dam. On one of my lakes, found only 1 year, I made a video there. It was called Toxicity. The name of the video is Toxicity because I fished with one extremely toxic color jighead, bright green, and trout magnet with bright orange jighead. It was right next to the dam, and that lake doesn't have big bluegill, but by the dam I was catching slab after slab. It was amazing. But next year, I don't know what happened, maybe bass boats. The water is a little bit different. They bed 1 week early, 1 week late. They didn't raise the lake yet. Stuff like this, it will vary. But by the dam, if you find a bed, it can be the biggest fish in the whole lake, perfectly perforated in the nose. Now that I have aquarium, I have to tell you bad news about my aquarium. Not bad news, but I guess typical behavior. But let me first tell you, I learned from the aquarium folks that fish have absolutely amazing eyesight. Much better than we think. Maybe because in my aquarium the water is perfectly clear. But when I get in the room, this long-eared sunfish inside the aquarium, that is on the other side of the room, sees me and runs to the front glass right away and starts to like a dog with the tail, waiting for a worm or some other piece of food. Sometimes I feed it whatever I'm eating, piece of egg, piece of cheese, piece of salami, butterflies that I find in my garage that are already dead. Dead butterfly, I throw it on the surface, it comes and explodes and eats it. But these fish have amazing eyesight and amazing even hearing. If you want to make the most of a bed, I tell you, stay. Now that's a presso bluegill. Those were soiree. Do I have to tell you why it's a presso bluegill? Look at this. Look at this color. A very intense, saturated copper. Beautiful bluegill. If you have a lot of beds, fine. But if you scout 2 hours to find one bed, park afar. Park afar. But I was gonna tell you, I caught 2 because I wanted them to be buddies, long-eared sunfish. Put them in my aquarium. At first they both kind of don't know what's going on. The little one recovered first and started to eat first the food that I give them. But then little by little the big one recovered. And the big one, after just a few days, became strongly dominant and protective of the tree and the rocks. Started always beating the little one when I'm feeding the food. It was so difficult to feed it that my wife had to kind of hold him away from the feeding area with a fork or something. Not fork, but we have one plastic thing just to feed the little guy, because it would come and eat everything. Beautiful bluegill, folks. Beautiful bluegill. Yeah, it was difficult to feed, and he started chasing the little guy relentlessly, all over. If there is nothing to do, he'll just chase him until he gets him in the corner of the aquarium. only there he would leave him alone. If the little guy would try to park next to the rock or the trees that I have, the wood that I have there, he would immediately chase him and bully him all over. And the little guy started to not do well from exhaustion. He would be breathing heavily and frequently. I had to let the little guy go before. I didn't want him to die. The kids asked me why he died. So I had to let him go before he dies. There are certain situations. The fall is very important. The initial fall is very important. No, there is nothing to get snagged on there. What to do? Should I break off or go and try to recover it? I'll go and try to recover it. Give me a second. Well, it's 10 minutes later. The snag was rigid, broke off, lost it. Let's say a quick prayer. May you rest in peace, black on black dangle. You did well in multiple sessions. We will now continue our life journey with a black presso dangle, which in a way is more fitting for this rig. I just ran out of them yesterday on the other reservoir, and I had to go with black on black. Now, normally I don't fish a bed after I drove with the boat on top of it, but it took me, I don't know, 5 minutes, maybe even 10, to tie a new leader, to tie a new jig head. I even looked at my phone. I was kind of conscious of this very thing I'm telling you right now. But I thought by the time I retie, the fish might go back on the bed. Separate issue is that we already caught quite a few fish from this small bed here. The bed is not that small, but this bed is damaged. I can see that the catfish and the bass already did their thing. Who knows, maybe some anglers, not very many people let go of these bluegill. Most people, when they catch these fat, juicy bluegill, proudly take them home. Yep. Got one more. Yeah, even though I spook them, it takes 5-10 minutes to retie. And these fish, because they're protecting the bed, they don't go very far. They go right back in there. I'm not gonna cast there again though, if I can land this fish, because it's gonna be difficult to catch fish off this bed from now on. See what he's fighting. Come here, little buddy. Come here, little buddy. And let's see. Oh, man, after all of this spook schmook, I think this is the biggest fish of the day. Look at here, folks. Look here, what a tank. Give me a second to bump him. Man, he's like only 9 1/4. Can you believe this absolute tank? I've caught 9.75 inches that look like nothing compared to this. These long, skinny females that we catch in the winter, they're pushing 10 inches, but they really look like nothing compared to this. But I'm gonna go look for a different bed, folks. I don't wanna waste any more time here, even though there's probably 1 or 2 fish that I can still catch. Not that's on the bed. There's probably 5 or 10 fish on the bed, but there's at least 1 or 2 more that I can catch. But any other time of year, I would try to catch 1 or 2 more big bluegill, but this is the best time of year, folks, and this is the best time of the day. It's what, 7:20 in the morning right now. I don't want to waste another 20 minutes to catch 1 or 2 more fish here. So let's take one more look, one last look. Let's put the jig head here of the rig that we used in this combo. I like to send you out, guys, with a nice background screenshot from the rig. Presso on presso. This line should be called presso too. If the rivers were a little bit more acutely aware of what this line is used for, they would have called at least this color the presso color. I called my lure a black presso color, so I don't know why they don't call it a presso color. But I wanted to tell you some more about my aquarium fish, but I guess I'm gonna tell you more in the next video. This snag here just ruined everything, ruined my thought, ruined the fishing bed. But let's not get too greedy, folks. We still caught more than enough fish for one video. I'm still many videos behind, so this video at least will be quick to edit. So I'm gonna let you go here. Thank you guys for watching this video all the way to the end, and I will see you soon. Bye bye, folks.